Welcome, boys and squirrels, to the Northern Outcasts Outdoors podcast, The Outcast, your home for all things hunting, fishing, and ball busting related. Powered by Citizens Hunting Co., A&F Custom Calls, and Out on a Limb Manufacturing.
All right, boys and squirrels, we are here on the second half of a doubleheader, episode 7, and we're a man down. It's just me and Sibeli today.
Yep.
But we're bringing the fishing content big here to finish out the summer, and we got someone who I was actually very excited whenever he confirmed to come on the show with us here. Out west, we don't really get guys that far west. We just had someone from Oklahoma, so we're pushing to the west coast here.
Trying to reach out.
We're trying to reach out a little bit. We got Michael Lopez. Tinyboat Nation is probably what most of you would know him from, and you're kind of at the head of a movement that's been going on over the last couple years, and it's really cool to see it. I've been following your YouTube page for a while, and it's cool to talk to you. I mean, it was awesome that you agreed to come on. We really appreciate it. But welcome to the show.
Yeah, I appreciate you inviting me on.
Yeah, it's really neat to kind of see the progression from your channel specifically, just from your earlier videos to the one I was watching the other day with the Pontini. That thing is freaking sweet, which I did enter to win that thing too, by the way.
Yeah, good man.
But it's awesome what you do and kind of what you offer, I guess, to the blue collar dude, you know, the guy that necessarily doesn't have the waters around them to fish an $80,000 bass boat in. And it's really cool to see the stuff you guys come up with, you specifically on your channel.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. That's awesome. Yeah. You pretty much summed it all up. There goes our hour.
Well, hey, thanks for calling in. And okay.
No, but it's really neat. I guess kind of what got you really into that, other than, you know, just being a tinkerer and a fisherman, I guess, at heart.
Well, I mean, everybody wants a bass boat.
Oh, for sure.
That's the pinnacle of a fisherman. Aside from that, you're either, I guess it's just whenever I found out that you could make one, and I didn't even think that you could make one. Like one day I'd actually converted an inflatable to be more bass fishing friendly. Mm-hmm. And it was and somewhere down the line on YouTube, I saw a random like little bass boat, it said homemade bass boat or something, and I looked at that thing, and that thing was from over a decade ago. And that was hooked right then. It was somebody's like photo diary collage of the boat.
Yeah.
And then so I made one, and then then from there it went on.
Well, I know I've been following your channel specifically for a couple years at least. I mean, how long have you had your YouTube channel? Because I mean, you do have a pretty substantial following on there.
It's, I don't know, I think 2010.
Really? That?
It used to be a paintball channel, and then I moved down to Havasu in 2015. That's when we started doing like solely fishing and boating stuff.
Yeah.
There's no paintball down here.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of died out. It's funny you say that. That was a real thing up here in Pittsburgh by where we're from with smart parts and everything. Not to completely go off topic here, but it did kind of die down up here too.
Yeah, it's all the smart parts ion. Yeah, I love that thing.
Oh yeah, that was an OG. Yep. I was an impulse guy too for a hot minute there. Not to totally confuse everybody that's tuning in to listen about boats, but yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, no, so we came down here. That was gone, and I mean, I moved down here to fish. I moved down here to be on the lake because this is like the lake to be at. I mean, in my opinion, there's a few in Arizona.
Oh, for sure. This
one was like my favorite chain. So when I got here, that was just much easier to do fishing content and create. And then, you know, I rocked my inflatable out here a few times, and I needed a boat. I mean, it's just kind of like a way. Like I saw a quote on I think on Instagram or something, some little motivational quote. He's like, "You ever ask a crackhead how they get cracked, or if they?" You ever see a crackhead who says, "I'm sorry, I can't get cracked today because I'm broke"? No, they just get it.
Yes.
So that's kind of how I felt with like a boat.
Just on the grind. That's all.
I love it. I'm going to keep that in one of my back pockets for later for sure.
Yeah. So.
No, that's awesome. The one thing you mentioned in the one Pontini video, the second part of it, when you guys were wiring up all the lights, and you'd mentioned that you live on Havasu, and it's all these dudes got these decked out, like kitted out boats with lights and crap on them, and it kind of goes back to I call it a movement, honestly, because the kayak thing I feel like kind of spitballed into the tiny boat thing, because, you know, it's kind of next tier up, I guess you could
Yeah,
say.
for sure.
But you guys are always doing really cool stuff with them to like really, make it your own. Like your guys' switchboards that you put in these boats are like so cool. You know what I mean? It's almost like looking at like a lowrider or something, or a guy at like a car show that like, hey, only someone else that was like into it that would really appreciate, the 20 hours that you put into, wiring up this panel or something like that. And those are the things that I find incredibly interesting about the stuff you guys do.
Yeah, it's either it's at a point where you have the time to put it in, or it's just all time. If you got time, you can do it.
Yeah.
I feel like anybody can do it.
The one that actually kind of brought me back to your channel recently is the Bass Raider, the little plastic Bass Raider that you put I think you did the 8-footer though, not the 10-footer, correct?
Yeah, I did the 8-footer.
Yeah, and for someone like us, the area we live in, Pennsylvania, 3 of the 4 major lakes around us all have horsepower restrictions, so you can only have a 20 horsepower motor anyway. Like something like that.
If not less.
If not less, yeah, there's 9.9 areas or electric only areas in a lot of the places that
That's the majority of America.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really well known that the majority of America has horsepower or boat length restrictions. And it's only these really big, massive lakes like the one I live on that will allow you a bass boat.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking big lakes like that are generally part of river chains with a high flow through. There's only a few small lakes out there that'll accept.
Yeah, the one unlimited we have around here isn't any different size than the other ones, which is kind of weird, I guess, when you say it like that.
Is it like a reservoir like that feeds water into population?
I don't know if it does or not. I mean, they have a dam, so I know they're getting power from it in some way, but all of them are reservoirs. I'm pretty sure, actually, because Pymatuming definitely is,
yeah,
too.
For sure.
Yeah, they all have dams, using air quotes. Some of them are, smaller than my garage, or my house, but but the one that doesn't have a horsepower restriction is just like completely overcrowded with boaters, because obviously that's the only place you can go for, jet skis and ski boats. But the other spots, something like that little Bass Raider would be freaking awesome. Or now you're seeing a million kayakers.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's
you're talking to one of them at least here. I know I got into kayaks just for the sheer purpose of not wanting to spend the exorbitant amount of money on a full-size bass boat, and just the accessibility. Once again, like Brewer was talking about, we have a bunch of smaller areas around here that we can just pull up, dump in a kayak, and just go about fishing, as compared to not being able to put like an actual full-size boat in.
Yeah, that was the first movement.
Yeah,
somebody kayak into a fishable craft where it wasn't just like you were sitting in there.
Yeah,
it was like, the first kayaks always kind of freaked me out, where it was just a hole and you were in there, and if you flipped over, like you drowned.
Yeah, you were stuck in there.
Yeah, which if you stayed on long enough, we could definitely tell you some stories, especially about flipping over and almost being drowned multiple times. But yeah, no, I actually, jumping into the kayak world, I bypassed that and spent more than I probably should have on one of those old town autopilots. So that's what I roll around in. So at least I have an inboard little trolling motor to get me around. But I definitely still am looking at stuff like yours.
Yeah, I guess that's like the hot new kayak to get the old town, right?
Yeah.
Everybody told me I should have got that one. I got like a fill-free Dorado.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like just as a second boat stick in my toy hauler.
Yeah.
I'm making like a tandem, a double stack trailer.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. You posted it.
Yeah, we were watching that.
Looks pretty wild already.
Yeah, and so it all worked. I haven't, but they were telling me I should have went and got an old town. I looked at it. It was about the same price. I don't know why I didn't get it. Stupid.
I mean, it's nice. It is what it is. I mean, I mostly got it just for the sheer fact that I could put those micro power poles on the back, and the ability to spot lock, especially bass fishing, since that's the majority of what I do. It's kind of invaluable up here, especially with a lot of wind.
Yeah, I was immediately annoyed with how the kayak would turn.
Yeah,
and how it just turns. Just the wind just owns it. Yeah, so spot lock probably would be invaluable on that. I'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice upgrade. I'll give him that for that portion of the kayak.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I felt like these mega yaks.
Oh yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Are derailed, and I mean, I don't want to cast stones because I bought one.
Yeah, it's understandable.
Don't take this wrong, but yeah, that's past a certain point. Like there's between portability and how much you're actually going to maximize on fishability versus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that Dorado I have is heavy.
Oh yeah,
so,
I mean, plus what you're spending, like you could at that point just get the damn boat.
Yes.
That is kind of the tightrope you walk.
You guys follow like the mountain bike scene where like you have I don't know, what is it? a trek or a specialized like those guys. Like it's kind of how I feel like
Uh-huh.
kind of went all kind of trendy and hippie-ish.
It did kind of turn into that. That's something else we were
We were
talking
just
about
discussing
earlier.
about it over lunch. Yeah.
It kind of came not douchey's not the right word, I guess, but the hipsters kind of took it over, and then everybody's like, man,
Yes, I don't know. Like it's if you can put a time into to build a boat, it's the time and it's the problem solving, all the stuff. I don't know. I think it does a lot more for a person. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of ways to in this world we live in to kind of be challenged.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To go under like massive amounts of stress where your hair you start losing your hair. Like,
Oh yeah.
but if you go to convert one, it's a lot of extra thinking and skills and a lot of other stuff that I think is underutilized. Period. Like you used to use it back in the day. You had to. It was like part of being a man. And then now, unless I don't know, this is a society where you have to go look for pressure. Otherwise, you have like a cushy life. And you kind of become like this neutered dog carpet paws. You got to go find things. You got to go get in fights. You got to go to MMA gyms. You got to go and build things. Or otherwise, like, I don't know.
The one video you had, I can't remember specifically what boat you were working on, but you were freehand carving into your deck this picture of this bass that you like freehand drew on the top of the deck, and you were talking about working with guys in jail, and like how you said the people in jail are some of the most talented people that you'll never know about because of, A, B, and C, and you were kind of, having like a tangent, like, serious talk while, you're showing you carving this thing out, and stuff like that really speaks to me, where it's like, taking pride in your work and, really going, head first into it and making the most of it. And I think that's a really cool message that you see in a lot of your videos, whether you illicitly say it or not, which kind of makes, your content a little bit better too, obviously, from my perspective.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I gotta say stuff. Otherwise, it just gets boring to watch.
Well, that too, yeah. But you actually like had like a profound, message in there, and I was like, he's right.
It's one of those the more you know moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even justify what the stuff I would see. You swore somebody printed it off a computer.
Yeah.
Digitally remastered it, and in the end, it was a piece of like sheet and a little pen that they stole from like the galley.
Yeah.
And then what they did was, I don't know.
It was
something
profound.
Yeah.
Somewhere like the Art Institute, or you go to any sort of art college and you look at their gallery and you see what they have, and some of the stuff's impressive, And then, but when I went to go, because I was gonna go be an animator, that was like my thing. When everybody's like, you got to college, you got to go to college. So it was more money than it was worth. And then what turned me off is they said I'd have to go to California and just grind there, and I'd already had a thing. So I said no.
Ugh.
I'm not doing that. So that's why I wasn't there. But when you were there, they kind of show off their gallery of like their I guess what you would say their prized fame projects from their top students. And I was looking at this like, that's pretty good, but that's not hard. I can beat that.
Yeah.
I know all too well.
Yeah, so maybe it's a little cocky to say that, but I truly did feel I was like, I own this place, and then I never went. But then when I go into I went in into prison as a CO, and then they took you into CDC, which is their criminal investigation unit, or CIC, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Pictures on there absolutely destroyed the Art Institute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know too well with that too. I went to college for a graphic design degree, and a lot of the artwork that was kind of portrayed and showed up constantly in the hallways and different exhibits and stuff, and you look through it and you're like, yeah, this is pretty decent. But I also know somebody that does like random street work, like down the block, like just like portraits on the sides of walls that like would absolutely blow this out of the water.
Yeah, it's the unspoken people. Yeah, so I guess it's finding a way to accentuate your talents. That's what it does for me. Because I was truly meant to create, not be stuck in some office somewhere. Or that either was what it was for me. I graduated from college. I took in my profession, but I was just stuck in an office, and it was now in like corporate or nonprofit jobs, you're kind of metaphorically castrated.
Yeah,
you can't be yourself. It's like a risk, and so that has a lot of health. That has a lot of effects on my health. That did, and the only other alternative to that was like construction, because I could go work construction.
Mm-hmm.
So it was either like get mentally exhausted from that job or get physically exhausted and eventually burn out from the construction job, which probably would have been a little more fun. But I mean, they work it like a dog. To be a laborer or to be any sort of, it's hard work, like all the time.
Oh yeah. I mean, I
So,
work in a mill, so I mean, I understand. And I also worked in an office prior to that, and the mental tired is a completely different tired than a physical tired. And I don't think a lot of people understand that.
no, I worked actually on the off season when this was going where it was, and it dies in the winter because nobody cares about boats and they all want to go hunting.
Oh, for sure.
So I had to make some extra income. Yeah, and even in like the coolest time to work, it was still terrible here.
Oh, I believe it. I mean, we live up here. We don't even know what hot is compared to you guys down there. Like up here, you'd probably be in a sweatshirt right now.
Yeah, it was miserable. So yeah, I don't know what to tell. I'm just glad. Yeah, I'm glad I found a median. So it's a lot of work.
I mean, you guys have what, two shops now? Is that right?
We do have one. The one in Georgia just opened.
Yeah.
It's starting to get established, and we're trying to get things going up there. So it's like a slow moving process. Kind of painful.
A lot of the stuff you guys do is, for people that I guess don't know, you have a website that you sell stuff specifically for guys to trick out John boats. You have the pre-cut decks for the Bass Raiders and the 8-foot ones too, like in the video that you made, and you sell like prefabbed aluminum hatches, door. I think your exact slogan is, if you can't find it on our website, then like you're doing something wrong. Not in those exact words, but something along those lines.
That was a slogan I had a long time ago for sure. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool, the stuff you guys put out. Like, it's really cool, actually.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's pretty cool too.
I know it gives people like me hope that aren't really mechanically inclined, but I'll find myself just kind of going down a rabbit hole watching like video after video after video of you guys, working on these boats and doing all this fabrication. And it just kind of, gives me the little, hey, you know what, maybe I actually can do some of this stuff if I actually sat down and got the tools and decided to, kind of put my mind to it.
Yeah, well, you don't have to go terribly too intricate into it like how I do it. Like I have issues like these, but most people are just pretty chill. They want a hatch here, a hatch there. And then most people just want a fishable boat. You're not stepping in water because the main floor is full of water from whatever. Because there's a leaky rivet or there's I don't know, something, a wave went over. And so you're not stepping in water and you're not stepping on your gear. There's a fishable front deck. You're not standing in a bench seat and you're about to die at any moment. The boat, like those little things are very easy for I think anybody with even meager mechanical inclination to get over, so it's just most people are just kind of simply doing it, going getting some bunk carpet from Lowe's, wrapping the deck, doing their thing, and they get pretty far. I mean that's
how you start though. That's taking that first little tumble down the rabbit hole, building that confidence, because I think a lot of people are more nervous about putting holes in a boat or like really cutting into something.
Yeah, it's very unnerving to put a hole in the boat. Just, but it's fine.
I mean, mounting a transducer on my buddy's boat, I remember him and I were like sitting there like sweating fucking bullets, and we didn't even drill a hole yet,
Oh yeah, you just get a stern pad, just preamp tape a stern pad right on that.
Yeah.
You gotta drill. Yeah.
No, it's awesome. I mean, your what boat was it? I was just watching the video on you, the one that you had on your double decker trailer, the black one. It's one of your older ones, I think.
Oh, the Yak.
Yeah, the one you were taking it out to try it, and you didn't have your lithium batteries in it. You had to use heavier batteries, and you're like, I'm kind of over the weight limit, and then like literally 5 seconds in, like the whole back corner went underwater. And I was watching the video, I was like, oh shit. You're like, this isn't a big deal at all.
Oh no, I had 3 bilge pumps in that boat. Well, so that boat was overweight by a lot because the 8-inch batteries are the heaviest you can stick in there. So maybe when I stuck in there, the boat was overweight, and then I was also overweight.
Yeah.
At time, which I have fixed since then. So actually, that boat fishes really good. I put lithium batteries in it, and then I lost a little bit of weight, got my health together, and I can fish on that thing really well. Like I don't need butt seat.
It looked like it handled really nice. I mean, it is. I mean, it's a tiny boat. That's the kind of the whole vibe. It just kind of showed like how over engineered you made it. Because I remember your exact words were, "This thing is unfucking sinkable." And you're like, "This isn't a big deal at all." Meanwhile, I would have been like shitting bricks at that point.
Yeah, but that wasn't good. Let it over like that. But,
yeah.
So,
well, I mean, it was a good test to really show, like, yeah, dude, this thing ain't going nowhere. It's good to go, and that's cool too in that regard too.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep that boat forever. It's the same size. I got that kayak. There's a 12.5-inch kayak, and I have that boat, and they're right on top of each other. They're the same size, and that little John boat will stow 14 rods and some 20-something tackle trays.
Yeah, that's insane. You've had that one for a while. That's one of your earlier builds, isn't it?
No, that's like probably.
Is it recent? I can't remember
My
now.
That's one. Yeah, the earlier ones. That one I had to I couldn't finish. That one I specifically took it to wage a metaphorical war against the kayaks.
I love it.
Perfect.
Because it's the same thing with. It's kind of the same thing with the bass boats, where the John boat to bass boat movement, which is way before I was. That's what it was called before they were called tiny boats, or people started using our stuff. It was John boat to bass boat. That was the initial cold movement against bass boats, but it was just really unorganized until we came and organized it. But then it was the kayaks. It was these mega yaks that were back. I don't know. We got deterred, but back there past a certain point, maybe the Hobie Outback, or I don't know, the Feel Free lure.
Yeah.
Right there, that's the apex of portability versus fishability. And then after.
Well, that's when Iconelli really, he kind of forged the kayak movement, Mike, with the Hobies.
Yeah. Well, they're not that much more fishable, I don't think.
No.
How much more fishable is the Pro Angler versus the Outback? I think the Outback actually beat the Pro Angler in overall best fishing kayak. I think it beat it.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty close. Once again, these old towns, as nice as they are, what you're talking about, they are a little bit too much overkill. It takes more time than I'd like to discuss to get from trailer to in the water, especially if I have to put it on one of those little yak rollers to be able to get it from one place to another. And God forbid it falls off, it's going to take me an extra 10 minutes just to get it back on the wheels, because they are just absolute monsters when it comes to weight.
Yeah, so at that point in time, if you're gonna go through all that hassle and pay all that money, you could just
get a boat.
Well, the exact same money you could make something that would just blow that away.
Oh yeah. And it would be yours too, you know, make it your own.
And that's why every time we watch your videos, I go, God, and then I look outside and see this giant orange kayak in the yard, and I'm like, God, I need a tiny boat.
If you build a yak killer, you would stop yakking. You would quit.
Oh yeah, if you roll up to something like that, especially one that's as well put together as yours, and you roll up and that people are especially around here, they'll be like, what the fuck is that? That is awesome, And that's when I watch yours, man, that thing's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I released that Palm Prowler video, because that thing actually performed exceptionally well. I didn't expect it. that one was a sore subject.
Yeah, you were kind of against it. You did it out of spite, didn't you?
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, because for one, because the audience wanted it to be done.
Yeah.
And I have this thing against plastic. So, but
yeah, you definitely referenced that a few times, if I remember right.
And then also, so when I did go to do it, I drove down 3 hours to another city to go get it for this screaming price. But it was an 8-footer, and I thought it was 10-footer. But the guy took the wide angle picture.
Yeah.
So it looked like it was 10 feet, but it was not 10 feet. So there was that. I was pretty upset about that, and so it sat in my backyard for a few months, and then I was just like, you know what, I got to do it. But you could, that's easy. I got it done in a week.
Yeah, you had it out with, I think it was, I forget who you were out there with, but you had your yak killer out there and kind of going back and forth with it. And I was like, yeah, that thing is, I was blown away how well it actually, I was like, dude, this thing's going to fucking be, an inch away from being underwater. And it didn't look like it was at all.
Wasn't, not even 2 people on it. Those are 2 smaller people. That's probably appropriate. But even when I was on there, it didn't. It was just very front heavy.
Yeah.
It didn't have back displacement. But really on speed 1 of the little trolling, the little Minn Kota Endura, that was a little 30 pound, the cheapest one you could get. Went and bought one.
Yeah.
And I flipped the motor head. Oh no, it was a 55 pound knockoff trolling motor. And I flipped the motor head to make it from a transom to a bow mount, it kind of converted. If you just flip the motor head, you can switch it around so you can make it go forward instead of control. Mm-hmm. And on speed 1, it was almost too much.
Really?
It was trolling into the wind really well. Yeah. And then what's funny was we were out there in that lake, and that was an electric only lake way in the mountain up here in Smug, Williams in Arizona. And then there was a bunch of kayakers that would get out there and they would just get owned by the wind, and in 10 minutes they would leave. Yeah. We would watch them because we were out there they're spot locked or just kind of moving around the trolling motors and just killing it.
That's awesome.
These guys would get out there and they would circle around, and then they would just leave. It's
watch them slink away in defeat.
That's awesome.
I wonder what we're doing. I mean, it's a long drive. It's not like a short drive.
Yeah.
There's like an hour to get out there, like, and down a dirt road for 30 minutes, and then they just got there and left. So
Yeah.
I felt bad. And it was that, I think it was just that turning. Like you're really relying on that rudder.
Mm-hmm.
Plus the front drive just doesn't do good in the wind.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, yeah, so we didn't have that problem. It's probably where the Old Town would have came in great for them.
Have you done a 10-footer since then? Because I know you offer the 10-foot Bass Raider pre-cut deck on your website. Have you built one of those since, or has it just been the 8-footer?
It is sitting in my backyard. I went and bought one.
Nice.
Epic.
I was in Vegas at a Bass Pro.
Are we going to see a video on that sometime soon?
Yeah, I plan to do like 5 boats by fall, by October.
Really?
Ooh, now we're talking.
That's very ambitious, but
It's
at
good
least
to set a goal, though.
well, they're going to be basic. A lot of people have complained that my stuff has gotten too complicated and undoable for the average person. And so,
I mean, after watching the Pontini to the average, knucklehead, I can understand it in some ways, for
All these
sure.
people that are complaining are just those people that left in the kayaks. You don't have to worry about them.
no, I want to put together some simpler, because most people are not doing what I do. There's only a certain amount of people most people are they're converting their decks, their subfloors and their decks with wood, and they're putting a hatch here and there.
Yeah.
And they're either turfing or carpeting it, and they're going on and they're happy with it. And so I want to focus on maybe some more of those. Because for one, I'm going to put out this rental fleet. Because
That
I
would
think
be
that
really cool, actually.
Yeah, for one, I have to, in the wintertime, like our stuff just dies.
Yeah.
Like stop showing our stuff, and so I got to, other ways of soft income. So we're trying to make that. And so, but I'm not going to make an extravagant boat, because it's for somebody we rent it to go crash into a rock.
Oh, for sure. That's a really interesting idea, though.
Yeah, they're going to be basic. So we're going to be building them. We're going to build them right, but they're not going to be too terribly advanced.
Yeah, so if they do sink, I guess that's not as big of a loss.
Yeah, they're going to be built to last, built for abuse, and built to get around some of the problems that we've noticed when we've ripped apart boats. And then so between that and those, and then I would like to start building maybe like mini teardrop trailers or something. I would like to do something.
Those are really, really, really. Me and my wife have actually been looking at those off and on, and that's again another movement kind of in the same vein is the little campers, and some of those are freaking badass. That Lead Dog Motorsports, I think they're out west.
I'm late to that game though. There's a few out there that are just destroying it.
Yeah, they're
who knows if I'll ever
cool
be.
though.
Oh, they're very cool, but I would like to take my rent-it one. Maybe in the wintertime I'll definitely take my rent-it one, because as things get more expensive and diesel gets more expensive, and I'll probably then outside the truck. And I don't know if death fluid stops existing. All the trailer, and at that point in time, I'm just gonna build my own and figure that out. But yeah, I like camping a lot. And
oh yeah, I mean we're an outdoors group in general, so I mean it's not just fishing. I mean we all get in with that. I mean when we go hunting out of state, we're really camping out most of the time when we go.
That's camping's the way.
It really is, honestly. I mean that's the American, the old American dream, red-blooded Americans going camping and fishing, and that whole vibe right there is kind of encompassed into tiny boats and little campers as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, I definitely do want to make one. If anything, just to have a second one with no payments, not 15 years of payments. Like it really sucks.
One thing you mentioned about the gas prices too, and the electric outboard you guys put on that pontoon, do you think that that's kind of going to be the push now, especially with like electric cars kind of not taking over, but like being more prevalent? Do you think we're going to see more electric outboards in our day?
Oh yeah, well they're definitely going to try and squeeze slowly. I mean, that's how they do it. They constrict you.
Oh yeah.
They're going to constrict, and they're just going to make it very unpleasant for you to own anything that's gas, and so you'll just naturally switch over to electric, where it seems so bad. At that point in time, a lot of people will. But I mean, right as far as right now, there is only a few. Well, there's really only one or two motors where if you get it and it's electric, it actually is a very, very comparable equivalent to its gas equivalent. But right now, like the portable outboards, like 2.5 to 6 horse.
Yeah.
Like
that
little
range. Suzuki's or I think Mercury makes one too, a little 2.5. Yeah.
I mean, they all make their little portable. I call them like level 1, like they're glorified lawnmower engines.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, they're just loud.
Yeah.
So those, the electric outboards have caught up to those.
What is I forget the brand you guys put on the pontoon boat. They're kind of a cult.
The E-Performance.
Yeah, that thing, I believe you said it was the equivalent of a 9.9, right?
Yeah, that was equivalent of a 9.9, and that is actually a very, very torquey, capable 9.9. But what makes it, you'd have to really build a specific boat to get that thing to plane.
I mean, when you showed the video of the dude cranking on that thing, I mean, that little sucker was pushing some water like right now.
I know.
It looked pretty freaking wicked, honestly.
Yeah, one of them almost fell off. We didn't put that part in the video, but yeah, it was the sheer amount of torque, and that was a free guy.
Oh yeah, you guys had it loaded down for sure.
Yeah, it was loaded down to the max. It was overweight for sure. Plus the batteries. The batteries are 120 pounds a piece, and there's 2 of them.
Those things were like the size of like a computer tower, each of them.
At least.
Yeah, that's where. I mean, you hear all these talks about lithium. I don't know what they call it, but there's supposed to be some more advanced lithiums that are going to be even lighter and way more
probably.
If they get those going, then I would expect that lithium takes over like faster. But right now, there's just no way. Like those batteries are too heavy, and they're obscenely expensive. But you go down to the little 3-horse, so the Spirit 1.0.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is an equivalent in size and in actual range, and the battery is not 1,000,000 pounds. It works. Like that thing is actually like 45 pounds. You can throw in the back of your truck. Like
yeah, that's a little more legit for sure, especially for something the size that you're dealing with. Normally, the size you're.
Yeah, that's what I have in my Yak Killer, and I wanted to make they have a little like a stern conversion. It's this weird thing. I want to try and convert one of those into a motor for the Dorado. I really don't want to get the feel-free overdrive. I want to make my own drive.
Okay.
That's like one thing I want to do. Who knows? That'll get done. It'll get done after I build my boat rental fleet.
As far as the pontoon is that project like wrapped up and you guys are just posting footage, or is that still an ongoing project?
No, I was going to do the end reveal. I'm actually going to finish it up today.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it has to go through. There's people that really put in for that boat, so like it has to be seen so everybody's happy about it.
Oh, for sure. How many entrants roughly did you guys get in for that? Just out of curiosity.
There's like 6 or 7 people, not including. I mean, there were 6 or 7 sponsors. There was E-Propulsion. There was Amped Outdoors, ProNav Marine, Flashlights came in real big.
I mean, that's awesome for a YouTube channel to get guys throwing out like that or throwing down.
I'm very glad that they all came in and stepped in and did those things. That was super epic. I was pretty happy with the turnout because I mean having companies find value in you and up in your brand to do that is like hard to do.
I mean, you got a whole freaking boat. That's pretty legit in my book. If someone's giving you a freaking whole boat.
Pontini definitely sponsor. Yeah, that was a big thing. But that thing's pretty rad.
Listen, their site, I went and checked out their stuff. I mean, even outside of what you guys did to the one you have, and they make some really cool shit. I mean, it's three different sizes, but you can get them, to your taste, as far as like what they are capable of.
Yeah, I don't know. We thought that it would be a really good. That was the real thing. A lot of people ask for a family friendly fishing boat that's tiny, a family friendly ski and fish tiny boat or that kind of boat.
That's it right there to the T.
That is it. That's the only one we've ever been able to produce. Otherwise, you got to make it only for fishing or only. It's either going to be for fishing or it's going to be super gutted and family friendly and very fishable. But that thing, I mean, when we show you the end reveal, probably here in this next week, 2 of us are just standing in the very front.
That's the one clip that kind of showed up in the first couple. It's only there for a second with the gate off on the front. And I'm like, dude, that's it right there. 2 people on the front. That's the shit right there running a bank.
It was the shit. You are correct.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you don't have that on even a regular bass boat. Like if you went and got, an $80,000 Skeeter, fishing in the front of that, it kind of comes to a point. It's kind of
You are
awkward.
Correct.
That right there, I saw that. I was like, dude, that would be the fucking bomb right there, like to the T.
Yeah, I can't even explain it enough. You hit it like 110% on the dot. Like, no, you can't.
Like when I saw it, it was like the Leonardo DiCaprio like clip from Wolf of Wall Street. He's like whistling, he's like, oh, there's me. Like when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's it right there, man. That's what everybody's after right there.
Yeah, well, what was cooler though is while 2 people are up there fishing and you take the front rails off, that back is actually really comfortable.
Yeah, because it has a little couch back there, the little wraparound seats.
Yeah, if you're taking the old lady, she's always like, I'm hot, I have to pee. She really just wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You put her on that boat with the bimini top on and a cooler there, she's not going to complain. It was really comfortable.
Hell no. No, and it'd probably be way more stable too, obviously.
Smooth
It's a pontoon
sailing.
boat, you know.
Yeah. It was like shocking. Had we not overweighted it down with 240 pounds of batteries back there.
I love it though. That's like the mad scientist stuff is cool. I love that. Like the over the top shit. I love it.
Yeah, we got a third pontoon for it to stretch it out. But
you did mention that in the one after you were test driving because you said it was riding so low.
yeah, that's why it's not given away right yet. That's the reason.
Did that make a big difference? Like, did you notice a difference with the third pontoon on it?
We got to go down to install it. So
okay, so that hasn't even happened. Okay, I got you.
Well, sometime at the end of next month, we're going to get down and we'll probably do it out of Georgia because we're trying to bring more publicity to our Georgia location because we've done X amount of things out of the Midwest. Everybody knows. There's our main shop and then there's two big affiliates that we work with out of the Midwest. So our next one will probably drag it down to Georgia to Oxford.
Yeah,
and do it out
cool.
there in the lab. Yeah, there's some few things. I got to travel. I hate traveling.
That's hilarious. The last guy we just had on, I mean, he's up in La Crosse, Michigan right now covering Bass Elite, and he was talking about being on the road, all this time. And I think it's a mindset you got to get into.
It's miserable. Yeah, I don't know.
You are the opposite end of that spectrum.
No, I can't phone nobody on it. I hope that guy gets compensated well.
I think he's doing.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
You'll have to tune in for that one.
Pretty much dedicate your whole life to film them and then edit them, produce it. That's like a whole. That's being a truck driver. It's like your whole life.
But then documenting it and editing video and being a PR guy and being a social media guy on top of that.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some of these YouTubers that that are really big, like the Googans, and they got their own.
Yeah.
They got their own people that record and edit, and then those are like daily bloggers or 2-3 times a week people. I'm like, man, that guy's got to live with that guy.
No, I mean they kind of, and that's the other thing. Like our YouTube channel, we've been at it for 7 years, and we just kind of started the podcast here. This is kind of a recent thing, the last 2.5 years or so, and it's a grind even for no names like us that have had a YouTube channel for 7 years. It's like keeping regular content, what do people actually want to watch? But that we're still, proud of putting out there, that we're still into and it's genuine. And it's it's really hard to find A, that mix, and B, to kind of get traction, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'd like to do a podcast one day if I ever had time for it, no doubt. I always thought podcasts are pretty cool. The closest thing we ever get to podcasts is having live feeds on YouTube. Yeah. We haven't done one of them.
Yeah, those are cool. Those are cool too. I mean, it's kind of like you said, it's close to it, for sure. But that's the thing. You have a YouTube audience that, you have a following that's tuning into that, which is cool, especially too for them, fans of you, like, me and Sabelli here that oh, what are these guys up to? Let me see, that's cool. And that's, an awesome, another, I guess, level to the whole thing to, not promote yourself, but to, keep the brand going, I guess.
Oh yeah. We have to do more of them. We're gonna just do more.
Yeah, for sure. But that kind of falls into it's oh man, I have to if you don't have that constant engagement, it's you kind of lose it, when you fall down the algorithm.
Yeah. I think I've fallen off a whole total of 2 times where I missed the video for that week, and it really does profoundly affect the whole thing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's not great. But now they have those shorts, and they're pushing those shorts a lot.
That's what everybody is now.
Yeah,
it's because of freaking TikTok.
And so that's a way to kind of keep your channel active without having to produce a fully edited and nice video. So that's another rabbit hole to talk about. But
that has been a new phenomenon. People filming portrait instead of landscape now. It's coming full circle.
Everybody's a hero with that. But it's all kind of like that. Yeah, but things change, and now everybody can film and edit and entry level edit with their own stuff on TikTok. And I think YouTube. Well, no, YouTube's not as established as the TikTok still, but the Instagram reels, they're a good way to blow up. You got little clips here.
Oh yeah.
You can just
you could take one press of the button that's on there.
Yeah, one of them will get 15 million views out of nowhere. Just you don't even understand why. Why did it get so many?
What was the video that kind of really you logged onto your creator page and you're oh shit, where'd this come from? When did that happen?
I had converted a Carolina skiff to a bass boat.
Okay.
That was one of my first videos, and that one actually got a lot of. That was like my first contribution to the John Boat to Bass Boat realm, where I converted a Carolina skip to do that, and people really liked that. I got a lot of likes, and then it was that was kind of the moment where I found something.
Yeah.
And then I kind of wanted to build more, and then I was obsessed with storage, and then I became obsessed with max efficiency.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of these people, they built their boats and they were everywhere.
Yeah.
And then you could tell they were focused more on like they were really OCD, like all the hatches had to be perfectly symmetrical, or
Yeah.
and it wasn't necessarily very efficient. And then I had people attacking a lot about wood, and then so we went into aluminum, and then I found out that aluminum was not. You can actually make it heavier than any wood frame and deck if you do it wrong, and then we had to go through that. Then I was just obsessed kind of with max efficiency layouts. That's kind of, if there's anything really I have to dedicate that I would say that where my stuff completely takes over everything else out there, because there have been obviously way more now.
Yeah.
Is that it's still like the max efficiency layout. Like they'll come out of the hole faster. I mean, they'll play with lower horsepower, and they're really hard to sink.
If there was if there's a 20-year-old kid listening to us right now and he found a $300 12-foot John boat on Craigslist right now, and he's like, you know what, those are cool, I really want to do it, what would you say to them would be like, where would they start with something like that? Obviously limited money and time.
Limited money and time. Well, you either have to have more time than money, or money than time. Like,
well, it's just like you said with the crackhead earlier,
the crackhead had
Full circle to crackhead.
Back to drugs.
fishing, whatever, tomato.
Yeah.
I would tell them that we have this awesome kit that'll make that boat better than any kayak out there, and you should. That's what I would tell them.
Shameless plug. There we go.
That's fine. I love it. You've sold me already. That the kayak might be getting split in half and sent in different locations to come after one of your guys' boats.
No, that's fine. No, I'm actually gonna template out my deck kits that have that boat out of the toy hauler, and then we can actually just laser fit boats and to the frame.
Yeah, I saw you guys were doing that with the decking. You said you guys have a 3D scanner to do I forget the brand of the decking you guys were using specifically.
Yeah, it's Orthodeck, and then we have some other people that we use that are really good too, but they're pretty high demand. So we're trying to find more vendors. We're actually trying to just cut turf ourselves and eliminate some of these middlemen, but it's really hard to actually move. Like once you reach a certain level, you really do kind of peak without investors.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of right there where it's where we have to deal with more people. Than that side is get a little messy.
Yeah, I can imagine for sure.
Yeah, I really just like the lead marketing, promotion, and media side. That's
You've been killing it, my guy. Let me just tell you,
you've been absolutely smashing it. Anytime a new video or anything posts, one of us is sending the other one the link to it and going, "Did you see what they're doing over there? It's just unbelievable."
Yeah, he just sent yesterday. I think it was because we were talking about you coming on, and he's like, "Did you see the trailer he just posted?" I was like, "God."
Yeah, no, it's there. I mean, that trailer was actually much harder. It defeated me last night. Like I defeated.
I love it.
It's too hot to build anything. Like right now, it's like 112 out there, right? So
fuck that. I'm out already. You've already lost me.
You've peaked us. We're done.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go out there right now. So later on, when there's like a cast of shade, I'll go out there and then I'll have to deal with it. But yeah, yesterday, I don't know. I burned through 2 spools of wire already to build it, and I got to get in the circle. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, you think?
I guess you're covering a lot of linear feet there for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of
getting wire to where you need it for sure.
There's definitely 100 feet. I'm talking about welding wire, not actual.
Oh, well, that too, yeah.
Wire, but I have to get that too. Yeah, I'm not even on there. Still trying to.
Sorry to already ruin tomorrow for you, buddy.
No, you would think it's not that much compared to building boats. That's what I told myself. It can't be that hard. It's a trailer. It's just a bunch of tubes welded together with stupid axles. No, it's killing me. Problems.
On this podcast here, we love to hear the mental defeat of guests that come on just to make sure that we feel just as human when it happens to us.
Oh, I mean, me growing up in a wood shop and, doing construction and building things, like I've had to throw the Sawzall out the window, smash the drill off the ground, throw the wrench wherever, middle finger while you're walking out the door moment for sure. Like I relate to that on a biblical level.
You got to watch it out here if you do that. Because if I get mad and I throw a wrench, right? And one of my neighbors are freaked out, like if they're offended that I threw it, they can call the cops on me.
Yeah.
And then if you throw a wrench and it hits the ground, then the state of Arizona becomes the victim.
What?
So the state of Arizona can press charges against you.
Hold on a second.
What?
Hold on a second. We have to rewind real quick here and talk about what you just said. Can you clarify that once again for us here?
If you get mad and you like start cussing and you throw a wrench, right? Because I don't know, you couldn't get the oil filter off your car, whatever, spark plugs, and you throw it, and somebody reports you throwing something at the ground, then the state of Arizona, you can get arrested because the state of Arizona.
What?
You technically hit the state of Arizona when you threw it out.
I'm gonna need to have a drink after hearing what I just heard. That is insane.
They used to get that like for people for DVs. I used to be a social worker, and then people would come and see me for the stupidest crap.
Wow.
I have to do domestic violence classes and anger management classes, and they're like, "This is why I'm here." I'm like,
"Oh my god, that's insane."
Yeah, those are very bad.
I didn't think I thought Arizona was kind of a freer-ish state than most on that half of the country here, but that's pretty radical.
In some regards it is, and then in some things they got going on, it's not. Not very good at all.
I've never heard anything like that before. I mean, I guess I learn something every day.
I'd be nervous to shovel a hole in my yard.
For me personally, I should probably stay out of the state of Arizona.
Yeah, we got to definitely bar you from crossing state lines.
I should not go to Arizona.
There will be warrants.
Just won't be allowed back.
No, that's like down here it's like come on vacation, leave on probation. It's like a big thing. It's like a saying.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely not coming to Arizona.
They'll love you. They'll love you down here.
Oh my god, that's pretty. I don't even know what to say to that. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
So no temper tantrums in Arizona.
No,
is the moral.
clearly
no,
not.
don't do that.
At least not in open view of public.
Yeah, or have a lot of money to get yourself out of it.
Yeah, I guess that's anywhere, to be honest with you. But yeah.
Yep, there it is.
So what other, after that segue,
yeah, let's get away from that topic as quick as we can.
The other videos you have slated here, other than the 10-foot bass raider, what else do we have coming up? I mean, the reveal video for the Pontini too, but
yes,
what other mad scientist stuff do you have cooking up?
Oh, well, there is that 10-foot pond crawler. Then there's the budget build, which everybody really liked. So I'm finishing that. I put a poll and they want that thing done first for the pond crawler. So after I get this, because I have too many things going on, like
sounds like it.
So part of the reason I'm doing this trailer is to make it more efficient. So that trailer is specifically going to fit in my toy hauler. So with both boats in there. So I specifically made a trailer that'll fit in there. And once that fits in there, I mean that's like my mobile storage unit.
Yeah.
So it kind of works. I complained about the payment, but really if I wasn't paying $300 something whatever for that, I'd have to pay $300 to a storage unit down here.
Yeah.
And then not even own the unit. So
yeah, that's true.
It's a double-edged sword, but so once I get that out of there, my garage will be freed. Then I'll finish the budget build, and it's supposed to be simplistic also. It's simplistic. And then once that's done, that budget build is gonna be part of my rental fleet. And between that and the Bass Raider and the rental fleet, like I want to crank out like 5 boats.
That's gonna be awesome. What is the budget build gonna be based on? Like what canvas are you starting with, so to speak?
Well, it mainly is wood. People still have this bias toward wood as being easier. And at this point in time, though, it is the cheaper thing.
Yeah.
As people wanted a budget build, and they were like, "Can you do it for $1,000?" And before you could do it for $1,000.
Yeah.
Now you can't, but you could. So now I guess what we're trying to do, I would say that an easier build that most people would like to do, that they can have time, would be, you can do wood decks if they're static, and you can do wood subfloor if it's static. If you preserve it right, it'll last a very long time, no matter what climate you're in. You just got to.
Yeah.
And then you can, just like I did with that pond crawler, you can route the depth of one of our aluminum hatches and just drop it in, and then you have like a hatch that'll last forever, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the beauty of what you guys have to offer too. Is you can't just get on and say, I need whatever size you offer, this size right here, cool, and then it'll be there, and you got to worry about it either too. Then.
Yeah, I think that's our biggest contribution to the world there. Like, because before that there was those plastic hatches.
Oh,
they were terrible.
They would warp in the sun.
So much money. They were like twice as much money as our hatches. And they were so bad.
Oh.
And so I think people are looking at it. Most people just will get a nice hatch, drop it in the deck, and then once you carpet or turf over that, you can't tell that it's wood. And then most of those are like that. Most professional boats, like that are on the economy level or even on the higher end level, you'll find wood decks still to this day wrapped in vinyl or wrapped in carpet. It's a static decking. It's all marine grade plywood.
There was a video, I think, of your smoker craft, Deep V. You were kind of talking about when you would put vinyl versus when you would put carpet. And I think you were standing on your driveway. It was like a really hot ass day. And you're like, this is why, because, you know, the carpet's like kind of wicked, but the aluminum underneath with, I can't remember if you had insulation underneath the lids. And you're saying like, hey, this is going to keep my plastic baits from melting being underneath here. What would you like recommend, like, as far as that's concerned, like if you were worried about heat or like when you would use this versus when you would use?
We've kind of just really gravitated toward EVA foam almost completely.
Yeah.
We've kind of stayed away from wood and carpets, except for obviously for terminal decking. I still use wood because it works with my hatch systems that I made.
Yeah.
But people that are using the drop-in hatches, you know, those sit flush with the frame almost, like 1/8 inch above the frame. Then at that point in time, people are just getting sheets of aluminum and cutting it around the hatch, and so they have a full aluminum deck. Or if you're going to do the more budget friendly route, you would just do the whole wood deck and drop the hatch in and route it out. And then what was I talking about? I lost. Oh, that's fine. We were talking about something.
If what you would recommend, like for decking, like in certain situations, like when you would use carpet versus when you would use, you know, the actual EVA decking.
Carpet is just very tough. Like 20-ounce carpet is very tough. I guess it's still the standard as far as toughness. If you get the foam carpet, like the foam, the 20 ounce or the 24 ounce with the foam underneath,
yeah,
still the most durable stuff.
Yeah,
you know, that's most higher end bass boats, they come with that. With the foam padded carpet, it's very nice. Like when it's like that.
So you would say like that is more durable than getting, you know, like a cut EVA foam deck?
Well, yeah, I mean it's foam. It's not very. It's not. You know.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Quite strong, and you'd be very surprised. But in the end of the day, it's plastic.
Yeah,
like it's inflated plastic. That's what foam is, and so you have to be more careful with it. It does get dirtier. It does clean pretty easy, but it does get dirty easy. And but the benefits to it is, well, you can custom route it. I mean, you can custom route it, but you can get it custom done, or you can do it yourself. Or a lot of people will just get the groove, the cut groove camo, or the line teak.
Yeah, those look pretty cool.
Yeah, and put those on it. If you get the cut groove camo patterns, specifically the camo, not like that red or that blue or that green, that really bright, loud camo.
Yeah.
You get like the actual camouflage, like the duck camo or the gator camo.
Yeah.
That's dirty, nobody cares. You get blown on that, nobody cares. Like,
oh, yeah. I mean, it blends in with it.
And you can also hack and cut that stuff up, and you can't ever see the seam lines unless you're looking for them. Like, so you can. It's a lot more forgivable. So if somebody's really interested in getting EVA foam, I'll tell them to get the camo EVA foam.
Some of those bright camos, I'll tell you what, though, if I stare at it long enough, I got to like grab the wall or hold onto a table because I'm starting to see the ceiling real quick.
Yeah, that white is serious. That white is legit.
Oh,
will blind you. And then, but it looks very cool. And if you have like colored LEDs, the snow cam will take color of any of the LEDs you use.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Very good, but as far as heat dissipation, it's second to none. Like the turf could be black and it still wouldn't be as hot as carpet.
Yeah,
you can still walk on it. You can walk on it barefoot all summer. And I can't say that about carpet. Carpet does collect heat.
Yeah, I have had some moments you try to take your shoes off on the deck and you're like, I'm just gonna put those back on.
And then you put radiant barrier sheeting underneath the panels to try and deflect a lot of the heat from soaking in, and then obviously transferring down to like your baits or your bait compartments. And even then, I mean, it only took the edge off slightly. It did take. You could tell a difference between one that was not and one that was, but it wasn't such a profound difference. Like the heat dissipation between EVA foam and carpet is very profound.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy, actually.
Serious. But then carpet, next to carpet, everything else below carpet sucks for heat dissipation very badly. Rubber matting, the marine vinyl doesn't dissipate heat at all. Not at all.
It's like it's very compressed, like sheet, like, isn't it? It's like kind of like almost like a rubber floor mat, right?
Yeah, it's like paper thin.
Yeah.
It's paper thin vinyl flooring, yeah. And so as far as rinse being somewhat cosmetically okay to look at and then being rinse worthy, like you're catching a bunch of fish and cleaning it and there's blood everywhere. Yeah. You just rinse off with the hose, then that.
Yeah, then it's kind of nice then.
Yeah, it's nice for that, but you got to have some really good shoes.
Yeah. So you're saying go with carpet if you got the money for the all around.
Well, I mean, the thing with carpet though is a lot of people don't like the fact that it will mold and stink. Like if
That's
it gets
true
wet,
too. If you got to store it, yeah.
it doesn't actually dry, it'll start stinking. And you have a lot of people will actually give up and rip the carpet off, and you'll see them like right on line.
I have seen that, and it looks so ghetto. It is unbelievable.
I've seen it 2 or 3 times here where I'm at. My buddy, even he bought a boat and it did that. Like it's this gray non-skid. I don't know what it is. It's painted on the deck.
Oh boy.
They ripped all it off and painted non-skid on the deck, and then he bought it. And we've been trying to talk him out of to get rid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he so I mean, in many situations, I think carpet. A lot of people in really drizzly, like humid, like saturated climates don't like carpet.
So kind of where we live, more or less. I mean, we get pretty humid up here.
Yeah,
we get very humid up here.
Yeah. I think they don't like it in a lot of the colder drizzly climate. I guess anywhere where you have to worry about mold.
Yeah,
they don't like it. So we don't have to worry about mold down here. Nothing lives in it.
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys are pretty much in a desert, right?
Yeah. So carpet's great out here. As long as you keep it garage, let it die in the sun. But other than that, I think foam is probably the best overall performing.
Yeah, you do. I mean, you put it on just about every build you have at this point that I've been keeping up on.
Yeah, it's probably the best performing. And I do it because I like to put a custom deck on it. Because you can do it for a tenth of the price.
Yeah.
Of what it costs. Essentially, if you route it yourself with like you can get a cheap router from Harbor Freight. They have the battery powered little Bauer ones. They're not, those will route foam.
Oh yeah, and I mean you do some very, I mean, like we said earlier, I mean a lot of the stuff you put on there, like you always say about putting a bump, like a built-in carved in tape bump board or whatever in your deck, and like I think that's all very cool touches, to the overall project, just like little sprinkles of your creativity here and there, and I think that's a really cool another layer to building one of these boats.
Yeah, breaking the barrier between, like, I don't want to get all like social worky or liberal or I want to, because I don't like that whole thing. But
yeah, you're in a safe space. It's okay.
There's a point where there's a barrier between people who have it and people who don't. Rather,
yes, that I also agree with.
I would say that to own a bass boat, you have to have a pretty serious amount of capital, or that is like your lifestyle.
Yes,
like a lot of free expendable income just to own one of those, and because it's like $1,000 back when money was cheap. Everything that you had to do was like $1,000. Park plugs, maintenance, like a service motor, $1,000. A crack in the hull, $1,000.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I mean, if you're not using it more than if you're only using it 2-3 times a season, then what's the point of having it too?
Yeah, and so there it was, because every single problem was $1,000, right?
Yeah.
Like, had 5 problems, that's $5,000.
Yeah.
And then at that point in time, you just got to be very independently wealthy, making like over $100K a year to afford that stupid thing, like well over like 150, 200. Like, got to be like top 4% of people or something, or 2% of people to like really just have one of those and use it like a weekend warrior. Other than that, like you're on the tournament trail, right? And you're grinding.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you didn't buy a house, you bought a bass boat. And you're on the trail.
Yes,
or one or the other.
Have literally no other hobbies, and you eat ramen noodles 4 to 5 times a week. Yeah,
and that's like spending all your money on the boat.
Yeah,
and on the rest of it's on tackle. And so hopefully you have some sponsors to subdue some of that. But
which the average jack off like us obviously does not have.
No, so then there's a small pool of people who just have used bass boats, and they somehow make it work when they can.
Yeah.
Where there's that pool of people, but that's a fleeting pool of people. But I mean, if you take that barrier away, and also the custom decks like that, to have a custom routed deck, like what you can do now, like you had to have a lot of money. It's like $2 to $3, $4,000, depending how big the boat is, and the bigger the boat, the more money.
Yeah.
And if you can buy the turf for like $200 or $300 and go buy a router, and it's like $400 versus $4,000.
And you can have something that looks really legit too, if you do it right and take your time.
Yeah, exactly. And there's that, and then there's obviously framing the compartments and building your own boats. And again, it's like once most people own a John boat. Like, I don't know anybody making payments on a John boat.
No.
Most people own a boat.
Like, we were just looking on Craigslist earlier just for shits and giggles, and I found one literally in 20 seconds for $300 that's a half an hour away from us. They're always there. They might not be in the best shape, but they're always around.
Yeah, and so I mean, you can just outright own that, and you can give it bass boat qualities, pretty good ones. I mean, it's not going to go 60 miles an hour on pad.
No,
You're probably not going
we're not also either fishing lakes
If
like
it
that
is,
either,
you're
too.
in trouble if it's going that fast. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. You're not gonna be able to go and now bass boat. I'm gonna go and compete with all the other legitimate bass boats, and they're gonna leave you in the dust, and you're gonna get. You better have some tricks up your sleeve.
Yeah.
A lot of them won't even let you in the club. It's like a thing. Like they don't want to get owned by somebody in a giant boat.
Yeah, no,
Like,
you are absolutely right about that, because the one club that I don't know about if Sibeli is or not, but I'm friendly with. There's a kid. He's maybe, I don't know, a couple years older than us. Say a kid, we're in our fucking 30s, but he has this little shitty Lund that he put a deck on, and it's a tiller drive with a freaking 2-stroke Tohatsu, and that kid will outfish the hell out of everybody. And there's dudes rolling in there, with Tritons, with, legit boats that, can't even put their motor down in the lakes where, and they have to go on their trolling motor around. And he is just like fishing circles around these dudes. And he like catches some like not intentional shade, but catches some shade,
Oh, just give that guy a number. We'll sponsor him.
Hey, I'll get his number for you.
Tell him he has my.
It's such a cool boat. It's because it's so stupidly simple.
Yeah.
It's an old deep V Lund that he freaking painted brown. He put a goober deck on the front, with just just real simple. And then he got like his little fish finder back by his motor, and he just like goes to town.
Just goes to business.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. It is just that thing. It is as simple as just a deck and a subfloor and a few hatches. So you're not walking all over all your stuff.
No, he don't even have hatches. I mean, he shows up to like legitimate tournaments with like, one little like Jansport backpack that you saw that he probably wore to school in 97, with like a couple bags of tubes, and he goes out there and just like lays waste. It's honestly, it's comical. It's comical the couple times I've seen it happen. Cause I mean, I remember I fished against him in a co-angler tournament, and I can't even think of the dude's name, but he looks exactly like Edward Norton, which just makes me laugh every time I see his picture. And I was like, dude, we killed it. Like we got a 5 fish limit. We're coming in, and this dude just freaking starts pulling out hammer smallmouth. And we're like, first of all, where the hell did you even find smallmouth at on this lake? And we're like, never mind, dude. Like we're packing it up.
He's made it to where, some of these people I see, they just dedicated to finding big fish. Cause like the really big fish, we find that they're not the normal places.
No, and he's another one, like you said, he didn't work for a couple years. He lived with his aunt or someone, I forget. He has like this crazy story that they told me about him, and he worked for, I don't know if it was the Fish and Boat Commission, one of the two, but he didn't like spend his money. Like he was just, real frugal with his money, bought this crazy little boat, and he fished like every waking minute of every day. And he like the lakes around here, he knows them probably better than a map at this point, and he's that guy.
Well, I mean, we got the intellect. I mean, a lot of it is intellect.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's just hilarious when you see his little boat pull up and you're like, oh man.
Well, he's down there in Patagonia. Well, and downstate where I was born. I still got to go down there every once in a while. So downstate, we went and did like a anniversary thing for like our first year in, and we went down to it's called Patagonia Lake, and we were, the fishing was not great. We came at like a bad time, and also the increase of people to the area. The lake is seriously overcrowded. Like encroachment is not able to be called.
Oh, jeez, that's terrible. See, I could never even do that. I have like no patience for that.
Not even a thing. Like but we were there kind of fishing, and we seen these kids in a small little aluminum B-hull, like a 13.5 footer.
Yeah.
And they beat 30 other boats.
No.
We got it for them beating them all. It was a decisive win. They got big fish and they won.
No kidding.
Wow.
That was crazy to record that and get that. It was nuts.
It's funny when it makes you laugh. Like, you spend all this time and all this money, and you like come out with all this crazy stuff and this big game plan, and you get beat by the goofy kids in a boat that they stole from their grandma's house.
Yeah, they legit. It was like it was definitely I need a boat now. Like it.
Yeah.
It was like the standard boat that you just rig out. Like you need to go fish. You need to do it. It had like an igloo to cut the lid in half.
Yes. Yes.
There. They had a deck in there. They called
it
the little hooker. I think that's what his name was.
Oh, God.
Yes. These kids need like a t-shirt. The little hookers.
It's never
like
a
the
good
little
day
rascals.
whenever you show up for one of these tournaments and the kids from the Goonies come and just mop you up.
That's awesome. That, I mean, like I said, you got to just like stop and like laugh at it.
It is funny. Yeah, but down in Havasu here, they got this tournaments, and I think you have to have a steering console, like
Really?
to be in it. I think so. So I've been a tiller guy for a minute, and so I'm like, my boat's nicer than yours.
Yeah, really. Like, yeah, that's
Like my boat, tell you guys, you ain't gonna let I never really officially looked at the rules. Then I had a friend who was a really good fisherman here before he kind of flaked on me, like, and he was telling me about all the stuff you'd have to go through at the tourneys, all the backstabbing, all the conniving to try and get you to swallow because people are pissed that you won, or
yeah. I mean, you see that up here too, which is very unfortunate, especially for amateur stuff. Like, dude, we work a 9 to 5, and we come out here and like you're gonna, take it that serious that you gotta like, do shady shit.
Yeah, it was. I think it was the Wednesday nighter. It wasn't even like an official, because they have really big tournaments now. They have like 2 or 3 on like the same time. Lake's big enough to support it, but but there is some serious tournaments. But just like the Weekend Warrior one, that one,
Yeah,
like that one even gets a little messy, and I don't know. It's its own little clique. I never really have found a whole lot of value in tournament fishing, so I've never gone for it, or I would have bought a bass boat, but like.
Yeah, I kind of was into it, and it just kind of like I'll do like the little goober club ones with like the bass ballers as their names. They're like, if they called me to fish, like I would definitely go fish with those dudes, because outside of that, I'm friends with several of them, just from everyday life, not even just fishing, but like as far as like the local ones, I've just been very turned off by things I've seen, heard, witnessed, experienced, and I'm never going to go to that next level. So, you know what I mean? Like, why put myself through that, just getting annoyed, I'm supposed to be out there having fun. This is what I like to do,
Well, I think for a while that was the idol. Tournament fishermen were idols forever. Like,
oh yeah,
they were portrayed. Those are who, kind of made the fishing scene. Like, if you had a bass boat and you were in a tournament, you were like the coolest person.
Oh, without a doubt.
And media, independent media came out, and you had all these little kids fishing farm ponds, and now a group of them arguably have strong-armed the whole fishing industry, like them.
It's terrifying to say that, but they kind of came together like Voltron and did, because before they were all their own thing. What, John B, Lunkers, and then what, like Fork Guy.
Yeah.
They were all, fairly successful on their own, obviously, but then when they came together and started like coming out with their own baits and stuff, it's like you said, they did kind of put everything in a chokehold, which is, it's cool and kind of crazy at the same time.
Yeah, some of the companies that used to be really prominent now make baits for them. So it's
they're in with Bass Mafia. Bass Mafia is, they were like the upper echelon of tackle storage and stuff like that, and it seems like they almost exclusively sell their stuff now. Like they don't even sell like Bass Mafia branded stuff as much. Yeah,
they definitely. So it's a lot of that has changed. The fact that it's okay to be kind of a normal person who can't fish very well, and so that,
the accessibility,
now with independent media, and because before I used to when I was like when I was growing up, I would watch Bill Dance and I would watch Roland Martin or Williams. Those were who you had to watch. And who were those guys? All tournament fishing.
Yeah, that's what we said earlier. The earliest memory I have was because we all were football, basketball, and they had Mike Icknelli on the freaking Sports Center top 10 when he won the Bassmaster in 03 or whatever, like going nuts on his deck of his boat. And I'm like, hey, I catch bass. I can be on Sports Center. Like that's cool.
If you were growing up and didn't watch Bill Dance smash his knee over a hitch, you weren't living life.
Yeah, that was back in the day with that watch. But I feel like it went so lopsided. Like once independent media took hold, that created a bunch of little factions. There's a lot of tribal factions where you can miss entire people. Like actually, Mike, like I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
Until like he approached one of my guys to do a podcast on us. And then he didn't
awesome.
even know who I was. He just thought we were a Facebook group. Slim margins, that where you find out about people.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I can completely miss it all. But there definitely isn't no one true leader in anything anymore. There's a lot of facts. There's the big bait game. There's the tournament fishing game. There's the Guggen game.
Yep. There's the pawn guys. Yeah, you're right. It's very not clicky, I guess.
It is clicky. It is definitely.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy because social media, YouTube specifically for fishing has kind of been a double-edged soared. You know, same with like the music industry. People could say too is like they made it so
Oh, yeah.
anybody could do it. You know what I mean? It kind of took the
Absolutely.
it like brought the upper tier a lot closer within reach to people like us. You know, which is kind of cool at the same time, but it also makes it a lot harder for, you know, people that have like a, you know, something like a very good product that to, you know, really become visible to the masses.
Yeah, self-marketing is a thing. Like, you got to kind of be your own solopreneur to self-market something, unless you're going to have somebody push it for you. Like,
yeah, I mean, you got to be in people's faces about it, and that's like how we said earlier about dropping in the algorithm. It's insane. It's really insane when you really look at the numbers of like, oh shit, I posted a day later than I normally do. I you know, I missed that, and it's like, well, guess what? You just lost your ad traffic, and if you're relying on that money, you know what? You just lost, you know, your income at that point.
yeah, it takes a minute to get it back, but if you just stay consistently, yeah, I don't post. I'm not going to post 2 or 3 times a day on Instagram or TikTok. Like, TikTok's a floating cesspool of crap.
I
really
refuse to get on it.
but
I
I
remember Chucky. He has his. I refuse to, out of like moral high ground.
Well, there was funny. I don't know. I posted a minimal amount of videos, like a few here and there, not really trying hard, and I got like 50 something thousand followers.
Good
like,
grief.
without trying very hard, but you know what is funny is there's a lot of people that were on TikTok never knew about us.
Yeah.
Like, started counseling me like I was some newbie. I was making all these mistakes, and I was like, "Where you guys been?" Like, so it's a completely different audience on TikTok. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Those margins.
Yeah.
You can people buy an entire social media platform, like miss them completely, and then actually start getting more traffic. So it's good for that. But I mean, you're trying to be a good place on a bad platform. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very selective with what I do on that one. It's kind of crappy for sure.
The one thing I've noticed, I mean, maybe you've seen it because you're obviously a much larger scale than us, is the crossover between Instagram and YouTube for us does not exist. Like, if we try to promote a YouTube video on Instagram, no one on Instagram gives a shit. But if we're on YouTube and say, hey, check out our Instagram, no one on YouTube gives a shit, back and forth. And that's been like a huge barrier that we have not been able to overcome. Is that something that you see too, like on your pages?
Yeah, we try to promote our YouTube videos on Facebook for a long time. The whole thing is the platforms don't like each other. They're all competing for you.
Yeah.
For you. So they can justify ad revenue and justify relevancy. And so if you're promoting another platform through them, it's like they just don't like it. They'll cap you for even posting a link. Your video won't do it because you posted links to anything. That's not just like to other social media platforms. It'll do it if you post product links.
Yeah.
Then they'll actually punish you for that. Like, if people click too much on the product link, they'll actually derank your video.
That's crazy. That's completely crazy.
It is completely crazy, but it's a real thing, and so you got to be real careful about that. But I post links in all my videos all the time, so.
Yeah, I mean, you're not hurting with subscribers, like, for sure. I mean, especially for a fishing page, you have over 100,000, right?
Yeah, but it's not so much as subs. It's your audience base. Like, what is your audience base? But like, whatever my audience base is, 80+% of them just watch the videos. They're not subscribers.
Yeah,
and
that's kind of how we get to.
Like, there's only like 15 to 18% of people who are subs, but then there's people out there where their whole audience, 80% of them are subscribers, and then they like and comment and share, and those people grow a lot faster because their audience, generally the younger demographic, but for whatever reason, you know, my demographic, people just like to watch videos. They don't like to log in.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. I mean, we're older millennials too, so I mean, I get it. You know, we were kind of the first half of the social experiment of, you know, phones and all this crazy stuff. It's like, man, I really don't want to log in to freaking watch something that, you know, says the F word. You know what I mean? Like, that extra step or something's like some big deal to people in our age group. I get age range.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's so that's growing pains on YouTube. So the 100,000 is not really a big reflection. It's like channel views, because you find somebody with more subscribers than somebody else, but the other person will have way more channel views than you.
Yeah.
That person is doing ultimately better than you with more channel views and less subs.
Yeah, that's crazy too.
There's like 5 different factors to all of it. It all gets kind of.
It is a big muddled insanity for sure.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah,
it really is.
We've been trying to figure it out for the last 7 years at this point now, our YouTube channel. But hey, we're getting hold of guys like you who are out there who are killing it and are nice enough to waste, an hour of their time talking to dipshits like us. We appreciate it is what I'm getting at.
No problem. Well, it was fun having a chat with you guys.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you guys coming on with us. Anything you want to kind of say to wrap it up as far as what's on your end? Where can we find you and all that stuff?
We're on every social media platform out there at Tinyboat Nation or TB Nation Outdoors. And then we have our main websites, tbnation.net. And just check us out, see what we're about. We also just released a masterclass because there was a complaint about that where my videos weren't terribly clear. There's too many of them. And so that's true. So I re-edited and remastered and funneled a targeted set of videos for a master. So to make it easier for people. And so that's and also through Patreon. And
okay, you have a Patreon. I didn't know you had a Patreon. Well, I guess everybody does at this point, but
it's the bigger this gets, the harder it is to maintain that thing. But that Patreon is how I made it. I wouldn't be anywhere without Patreon.
Well, nerds, you heard it. If you're looking to get into the tiny boat game, look up our boy, Tinyboat Nation. And I think that's a wrap. This is a badass episode. We appreciate you.
Hey, no problem. Thank you much.